How's everyone? I'm Caede, your guide. I see you've made it to Shirakawa-go. It's a little different from the other tourist spots in Japan. Shirakawa-go is about 500 meters above sea level and is located in Gifu Prefecture, almost in the center of Japan's main island of Honshu. It is surrounded by steep mountains and is known for its heavy snowfall. Shirakawa-go's Ogimachi village, with its large thatched roof houses, or Gassho-zukuri, was registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1995, along with Gokayama in the neighboring prefecture. Many tourists from all over the world come to see this idyllic landscape of Japan. How did these huge Gassho-zukuri houses come to be built here? I wonder. Many of the Gassho-zukuri houses are still inhabited and are made of wood, so please be quiet and refrain from smoking when you visit. Especially, please do not smoke. Fire is the number one enemy here. Surrounded by steep mountains and covered with more than 2 meters of snow in winter, it is still unclear when people started to live in Shirakawa-go, which has a very harsh natural environment. With almost no flat land and with its deep snow, this area is not suitable for rice cultivation or farming, but sericulture, Japanese paper making, and the production of gunpowder began to flourish in the late 17th century. They kept silkworms indoors in the attic on the second or third floor. Silk was one of the most important industries now and then. Also, because there was not much flat land and it was impossible to subdivide the narrow agricultural land after inheritance, only the eldest son was allowed to marry. As a result, parents and siblings had to live in one house. Since there was always a need for laborers, the siblings who could not marry had children through common law marriages. For this reason, the houses became huge, and at times there were 20 to 30 people living under one roof. It's amazing! The land had few resources to utilize, so they used what they had without wasting it. The leaves of the mulberry tree were given to silkworms, and its leftover made Japanese paper. That's a true zero-waste society. And surprisingly, they did not even throw away the feces of the silkworms, but utilized it to produce saltpeter, the raw material for gunpowder. During the Edo period, Shirakawa-go was under the direct control of the shogunate, even though it was almost 400 kilometers away from Edo. The shogunate ordered the production of saltpeter in this area because it could be produced in secret since all roads were closed by snow in winter. Mugwort, Japanese millet, silkworm down, and human waste were mixed under the floor of a house where it fermented for 5 years, and then it was boiled down with lye to produce high-purity saltpeter. The bacteria produced potassium nitrate. It was very advanced biotechnology, and the finished product was secretly transported to Kaga, now Kanazawa. This area used to be a hidden high-tech village. Especially after 1853, when the infamous black ships from the US arrived to Japan, which was under the seclusion policy, and requested to open Japan's ports to the world. The demand for gunpowder increased in order to protect the country, but gradually, Cheaper saltpeter started coming in from Chile, and the village fell into disuse. What a pity! In the Edo period, the annual contribution, which is like tax today, was paid in rice, but in Shirakawa-go, where rice could not be grown, gunpowder was paid instead. Later, at the turn of the 20th century, the production of gunpowder was regulated, and the source of income for villagers was lost, so they began to go to work away from home. After the war, with the spread of synthetic fibers, the improvement of rice varieties and water, mulberry fields became paddy fields, and the sericulture industry fell into disuse, making life with large families unnecessary. In 1924, there were about 300 Gassho-zukuri in 23 villages, but due to the post-war economic growth, villages in the valleys were submerged to construct dams, and residents were forced to live en masse. So in 1961, the number of Gassho-zukuri was reduced to 190. The roofs of Gassho-zukuri need to be replaced every 30 to 40 years, and that requires more than 100 people who work together in the village. Moreover, in winter, the village was isolated from other villages due to snowfall. So cooperation among residents was very important, and that's how the spirit of joint work called Yui was born. However, with people leaving the village, they could not arrange for enough manpower to replace the roofs on time, and they had to ask for outside help. The cost was 160,000 yen per 3.3 square meters, or about 16 million yen for just one side of the roof of the building. Thus, with the addition of this financial burden and the fact that it is hard to maintain a house, more people started to leave the village. In 1971, the Ogimachi district started a preservation activities for Gassho-zukuri with the three principles of don't sell, don't rent, and don't destroy. And in 1976, it was selected as a preservation district of National Important Traditional Building, hereby becoming a cultural asset and receiving support from the government. In 1995, the area was registered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today there are 59 remaining Gassho-zukuri houses. Since being selected as a preservation area, Gassho-zukuri houses cannot be rebuilt, nor can new buildings be built on vacant lots. Even for modern buildings, permission from the government is required to make any alternation to the outside. With no new building policy, the houses have no garage despite being in an area with heavy snowfall. In the winter, the residents have a hard time getting to work unless they clear the snow every day. That sounds tough. In 1998, all the power lines were buried underground in Ogimachi village. This was a nice improvement for the landscape. The government subsidizes the replacement of the roofs. Nowadays, because of the declining population, roof replacement is rarely done anymore through Yui Corporation, and is often done by specialized companies instead. In such cases, the government and Shirakawa village subsidize 90% of all the cost. However, if the work is done through the Yui system of mutual aid, 90% of only the material costs are provided. This is because Yui is a volunteer program. When they do Yui, Food and drinks are offered to the volunteers, and that costs a lot of money. But they can't get subsidies for this part. For this reason, more and more residents are using contractors. It's hard to keep this beautiful scenery. A kindergarten, elementary school, and junior high school are located in the village, but the high school is still only available in Takayama, about 60 kilometers away. In the past, high school students had to live in a dormitory, but thanks to the expressway, it now takes about an hour to get there by bus. Mind you, commuting fares are 100,000 yen for 6 months. Expensive! Now a little more about the 4 seasons in Shirakawa-go. It starts snowing from early in December, and the accumulated snow would get reach at 2 or 3 meters high at most, and it would stay there until March. From January to February, the snow-covered Gassho-zukuri are lit up to give you a fantastic view. It's very cold, but it's worth coming to see the wonderful sight. I've been here before. In the spring, the cherry blossoms and the fresh green of mountains glisten beautifully. In the summer, the rice in the paddies grows large and you can enjoy rural scenery. In the fall, the mountains are colored red, yellow, and orange by the autumn leaves. No matter how many times I visit, it is truly a beautiful place. Now we're going to take a look at how the Gassho-zukuri houses are made. Are you ready? Let's go, Shirakawa-go!